All right. Hello, everyone. Thanks for tuning back in once again to the original Queen Ahmadiyyah Shakur show. Okay, so let's just jump right into it because, honey, they have reported that GloRilla was arrested on felony rug charges the night before the WNBA All Star performance. Okay, so let's get into it. Hit that like button, okay? Make sure you hit that like button. Please like and share. Now, here's what they're saying. Rapper GloRilla was arrested on felony rug charges after a burglary occurred at her home near Atlanta on Saturday. Now, this is according to Atlanta's WSTV and TMZ. Okay, and then performed at the WNBA All Star game in Indianapolis that same night. Now, the Forsyth County Sheriff's Office confirmed to the channel that authorities were called to a home owned by the rapper whose real name is Gloria Hallelujah Woods, honey. Did y'all know that was her name? Not Gloria Hallelujah. So anyway, they were called at 1:30 a.m. Saturday morning. Now, the rapper then performed at the WNBA All-Star game in Indianapolis that evening, playing a medley of her songs, Let Her Cook, Typa, and TGIF at the Gainsbourg Fieldhouse. She surrendered to authorities at the Forsyth County Jail on Tuesday and then was released shortly afterward after posting a $22,260 bond. Representatives for the rapper and the Forsyth County Sheriff's Office did not immediately respond to requests for comments. I bet they didn't. So investigators said three suspects went into the home when Woods was not present and were robbing the residence when an unidentified individual inside of the building fired at them. Now the burglars escaped, and investigators do not know or they do not believe that any of them were injured. So during the investigation, officers said they smelled rugs and probably Mary Jane, no less. Of course, that's what it was. And then found a significant amount of the Mary Jane in a bedroom closet. Now, Woods was charged with possession of marijuana and possession of a controlled substance. The homeowner is a victim of a serious crime, and we are committed to bringing the suspects to justice. Now, this is what Sheriff Ron Freeman told the channel. And at the same time, we must continue to uphold and enforce the law in all aspects of this case. Do y'all hear this? Now imagine your home getting burglarized and the police show up, then they want to hit you with charges. Okay, please make it all make sense. Okay. Like I said, this is just all crazy to me. She's the victim and she's been charged with a whole felony, and she wasn't even at home. Who's to say it was hers? Maybe the person who was there that fired the shots, maybe it was theirs. I mean, I don't know. But at the end of the day, they go after these celebrities because they're the bigger name. It's like that whole dog thing with Michael Vick. He wasn't even at the property, wasn't living there. Other people were there, but they took down Michael Vick. So that's how this usually works, for clout. Just saying they locked up this celebrity. Okay, so anyway, like I said, they responded because there was a supposed burglary. Okay, now the question is for me is who is the person that was occupying the dwelling at the time that allowed them to come in? Does that person live there? Are they on the lease? Is this a roommate or someone who just, was just stopping by? Someone that she let stay there for a minute or so? Because that all depends on how this can proceed. Okay, so let's talk about it because her attorneys are going out. They're going in about this. Okay, so they say that deputies executed a search warrant of the area with K9 teams and a drone unit. They did all that. Detectives also responded to the scene, and deputies reportedly detected a strong odor consistent with illegal narcotics. Okay, this is according to the sheriff's office. Now, a rug task force was summoned, and a search warrant was secured for the house. Oh, so that's what they did. Oh, well, yeah, that's slick. They secured a search warrant. That's what they did. They had to have been working quickly, post haste. Okay, so I find it interesting because here's the thing. This is how they don't you really, care to be trying to help you because you have someone break in and you're in the house. The owner's not even at home. But the first thing they say is, "Oh, you know what smells like Mary Jane in here? So let's call the rug task force and get these drones and everything, and then get a search warrant so we can come in here and search it." Really? This is what they do? Now, y'all know this sounds crazy. I'm not saying that she wasn't wrong for having stuff in there, whoever put it in there. But the bottom line is, why are y'all worried about that? Y'all should be trying to catch the culprits who came in there. Okay, the three thugs that fled. So anyway, as I said, they summoned the task force and had a search warrant secured for the house. And then a significant amount of Mary Jane was discovered in plain view in the closet of the master bedroom. First of all, plain view, I don't think so. Was the closet door just open? Because most people keep their closet doors shut, which means if the door was shut, that wasn't in plain view. I want you all to pay attention because they said plain view for a reason. I'll get into that in a moment. Now, so anyway, she was later charged with felony possession and all that as a scheduled one controlled substance and turned herself in voluntarily to the Forsyth County Jail on Tuesday and was released the same day on a bail of, like I told you, $22,260. Now, her attorneys, Marissa Goldberg and Drew Findling of the Findling Law Firm, or Findling, says that, you know, the arrest of Gloria Woods is a disturbing window into how warped law enforcement priorities have become. Miss Woods was out of town when her residence became a target of a group of home invaders who most likely knew she wasn't there. What they didn't know was that she had family staying with her that were traumatized by the violent entrance of the group, who grabbed high value jewelry before taking off once they realized the home wasn't vacant. Now, finally, law firm adds that when her family members did the right thing and called law enforcement instead of investigating the violent home invasion and theft at Miss Woods' home, they instead sought a search warrant when they spotted what they believed was a small amount of Mary Jane. This is what they do to people who look like me. And I know some of y'all are gonna say, stop making everything about race. Well, everything is about race in this country. That's just fact. Okay, because if that had been, Amy or Heather or Brad, you think they would have been really worried about smelling the odor of Mary Jane, or they would have been trying to catch the three culprits who broke in the first place? Specifically, if those three culprits were my skin tone. Okay, please don't go there. Okay, I'm just telling you the truth. So I find it all interesting. So law enforcement then sought arrest warrants for her, even though she hadn't been at her home for some time. No arrest warrants have been issued for the violent home offenders. Isn't that something? Or the violent home invaders. Miss Woods is a victim, not a suspect, her attorney says. This is our tax dollars at work. Absolutely unbelievable. It is unbelievable. Okay, y'all can say what you want, but this is crazy as hell to me. This is why, people who look like me don't tend to call the police. And so let's talk about why they mentioned something about plain view. They said it was in plain view in the closet. No, I don't think it was. I don't think it was. The closet was probably closed. Okay. You see, when the police come in your home, there's something called the plain view doctrine. Okay. And so if you invite the police in, to talk to them, or, to have them perform a wellness check or some crime has been committed, no less, and they see rugs or paraphernalia in plain sight, like on the table or counter, etc., then they can just confiscate it, and file charges. They're lawfully in your home at this point. You've allowed them in. It's the homeowner or an occupant of the dwelling. Okay, so it's immediately apparent that what they see is contraband. And they figure that out. They're like, yeah, we can press charges. Okay. But here's the thing, they have to have consent to these searches. Now, if you, let them do the search, you give them permission, that's one thing. Okay. But there's a voluntary waiver of your Fourth Amendment protection. Okay, so anything they find can then be used as evidence. Now, if the homeowner isn't there, like I said, it has to be someone who has the authority to give consent, like someone else who resides in the home. Okay, like a roommate or someone. And so, but here's the thing, they had probable cause due to extingent circumstances because they smelled the Mary Jane, so they say. Okay, and maybe they didn't see any signs of use, but it didn't matter because they smelled it. So that was their probable cause. Okay, so they could sense that something illegal might be in the house. But the bottom line is, why were they so concerned about that? Okay, they should have been looking for the culprits who broke in there and stole that woman's jewelry and whatever else they could grab before they fled. Okay, I'm just saying. So anyway, but they went and got a search warrant, so they're covered in that aspect. It's just a darn shame that Glo wasn't even at home. And then also, let's not forget that she just recently won the Kirk Franklin Award or the Bobby Jones Award for a gospel song that she did with Kirk Franklin. That's what it was. She won the Bobby Jones Award for a gospel song that she did with Kirk Franklin. And it looks like people were talking smoke about it. We're talking shite. And so let's just go to that, because you know what? This is just going to give them something else to talk about. And then let's not forget that about a year or so ago, she was also arrested for a DUI, if I'm not mistaken. So this all doesn't look good. Even in this case, I think they should have cut her some slack. They should have been more concerned about the real criminals Okay, instead of her having her little old stash of Mary Jane. Okay, that's all I'm saying. But hey, what do I know? That's just my opinion. Okay, so anyway, let's check this out. Likes up, everyone, please like and share. Thank you in advance.
In a whole, like they felt like,
Really?
yeah. I mean, I thought it was a great performance, but I think people, I think it just goes to like the people that you bring onto stage and how you, uh, I have a quote here. I think it was Dietrich Haddon was upset about GloRilla winning the award, but he also mentioned like things being like a mockery of worship and like things of that nature. Do you get tired of that conversation at this point, or at this point are you so used to it? It's whatever.
Be real, bro.
Gang, gang.
Gang, gang. Gang, gang. Gang, gang. On everything I love, right?
Mm-hmm.
It is what it is.
Yeah.
It is what it is. God bless him and God bless them.
How did you feel about that? Because some people were mad that in the gospel category, it was GloRilla and yourself. It was Little Baby and yourself. It was Rhapsody, not your quote unquote typical gospel songs. What did you think about that? That GloRilla won her first BET award was a gospel record. What are your thoughts on it? Primarily gospel artists.
I'm trying to keep my eyes on the prize. I'm trying to keep my focus on the things that really matter. I'm trying to tell the world about Jesus. I'm trying to tell the world that God so loved the world that he gave his only son, whoever.
Kirk Franklin, sit down. So, do y'all hear this? Kirk Franklin, I absolutely cannot. Now, he knows good and darn well he wants to be in the hip hop genre. Okay, haven't we all seen that for decades at this point? Y'all see him up there whining and grinding and all that, honey, doing all his shenanigans. Honey, he loves the secular music at the end of the day. But yes, there was a controversy because some people thought it was just all too much. Okay, GloRilla won the Bobby Jones Best Gospel Inspirational Award at the BET Awards in 2025 for her song Rain Down on Me, which features Kirk Franklin and Maverick City Music. Now, while the win was celebrated by many, it also sparked some controversy within the gospel community. Okay. And so with that all been said, some people in the gospel community like Dietrich Haddon, shout out to Dietrich Haddon, honey. He's one of my favorite gospel singers. Okay, he expressed disappointment with the win, feeling it wasn't a typical gospel song. I haven't even heard the song, so I can't say. Kirk Franklin acknowledged the controversy, but maintained that the win is what it is and emphasizing his focus on spreading the message of Jesus to everyone. Kirk Franklin, please sit down. All right. Okay, please sit down. I'm sure that GloRilla is thrilled. She said it was a blessing, especially as a gospel award, attributing it to God. Okay, so let her live. But at the end of the day, y'all know these church people don't be doing the same thing they used to do in church back in the day. Okay, y'all knew Kirk Franklin was off the rails when he said, make you want to stop back in the day. So is this any surprise to any of us? But nonetheless, like I said, these same people who didn't like it are going to have even more to say now that she's been hit with these felony charges, even though she wasn't at home. Those were likely her. That was likely her Mary Jane because it was found in the closet, though I don't believe it was in plain view, as they say.
Who believes in him shall not perish and have everlasting life. Mm. That's one man. That's one man. Everything else is just noise. Mm-hmm. That's one man.
Mm-hmm. I feel like you meet people where they are.
Some of these people are holier than thou, honey, and do more dirt than those of us who don't even go to church. That's just facts. So they need to sit down somewhere and stop being so judgmental. Okay, let he who is without sin cast the first stone. Isn't that what the Bible said? Okay, anyway, honey, y'all drop me a comment. Let me know what you all think. Do y'all think that they should have pressed charges and had GloRilla arrested on felony charges, mind you, when they were called to her house to investigate a crime that happened at her residence? Why are they trying to put her up on charges? Why would they do that? Okay, do you all think this is racially motivated? Do you think they would have done the same thing to a Caucasian person? Because I don't. So drop me a comment. Let me know what you think. Okay, with that all been said, I love you all to life. I hope you enjoy the rest of this day. Talk to you all again soon. Peace.